y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks for coming by today. And just a little intro here for a new reading vlog I am starting today. I'm really excited for it. It's one I made a little list of vlog ideas at the beginning of the year, and I think I've only done one of them. And so this is one I've been really wanting to do. And so I made time for it here in September. So I'm jumping right into it. And I'm really excited, and I hope that you'll join me along for the ride as I take some time to read like a certain K-pop idol. Yeah, I'm gonna read like Wonwoo from 17. So Wonwoo is, like I said, a member of 17. They're a 13-member group, and he is part of the hip-hop line, and he is really known for being quite the reader. He reads quite a lot as his schedule allows, of course, because they're always super busy. But he's someone that you can actually find quite a bit of books that he's talked about or has read, that kind of things that you can find actually online. Sometimes it's hard to find stuff, but there's quite a list of books that Wonwoo, like I said, has read or recommended, I've talked about at some point. So yeah, so I've got a little stack here, a little list here of books that I want to try to get to for the week, and let's check out Wonwoo's reading taste. They're pretty eclectic actually, so he runs the gamut. So let's dig into a few of the physical books that I have. The first being The Seventh Day by Yu Hua, and this is a Chinese story. This is translated from Chinese by Alan H. Barr. I feel like this sounds like an historical fiction type of story, which I do enjoy. So we're following young Fei was born on a train as it raced across the Chinese countryside. Lost by his mother, adopted by a young switchman, raised with simplicity and love, he is utterly unprepared for the changes that await him in his country. As a young man, he searches for a place to belong in a nation ceaselessly reinventing itself, but he remains on the edges of society. So at 41, he meets an unceremonious death, and lacking the money for a burial plot, must roam the afterworld aimlessly. There, over the course of 7 days, he encounters the souls of people that he has lost, and he retraces the path of his life. So it goes from there, and that sounds really kind of lovely, right? So I guess that's where The Seventh Day comes from, as we watch young Fei reflect on his life. Sounds kind of lovely. I'm really looking for that. One of the little blurbs here says is surreal. Yu's most devastating critique of the new Chinese reality. That sounds interesting too. So yeah, I'm really eager to jump into this one. And this was written, let's see, is it 2015? So it's not super old. Author I've never heard of. So excited to try someone new. And believe it or not, yeah, he likes Sherlock Holmes. So I've got some Sherlock Holmes here on my list. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing probably. At least read maybe a story or two from the Sherlock Holmes here. This is the complete Sherlock Holmes Volume 1. I picked this up at a thrift store. This one, those nice Barnes & Noble Classics. Yeah, it looks really cool. So again, I don't really know what I'll get to, so I guess maybe just start at the beginning and go from there. We'll see. But excited to finally actually read some Sherlock Holmes. I feel like Sherlock Holmes is like someone you think you know, but I've just never actually read anything, So got that on my list. So one thing when I'm looking at Wonwoo's list is that I don't always have access to everything. Sometimes, stuff's in Korean or Japanese that he likes, and they're not translated into English yet, which I think was the case for one of the recommendations. It was a Banana Yoshimoto book. I forgot the name of it now, but I can't find it in English anywhere, so I'm thinking it's just not translated. I did pull a Banana Yoshimoto book though, just to, because this is more if I have a time kind of things. I feel like just reading the author would be good too. So this is Kitchen. It's sort of like a pivotal classic, Banana Yoshimoto, most well-known book. It's been sitting on my shelf for years, and I have yet to read it. Seems like now is the time, and why not? So what I know about this is not too much, but let's read it together here. The place I like the best in this world is the kitchen. So begins this enchanting, original, and deeply affecting book that juxtaposes two stories about mothers, transsexuality, kitchens, love, and tragedy. all seen through the eyes of a pair of free-spirited young women in contemporary Japan. I'm sold. That sounds great. So, see if I get to that. A couple of things that I've got digitally for my plans for the week. This I'm going to listen to on audiobook. That's The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Kiego Higashino. And he has actually got quite a number of this author's books on his list as well. This one sounds pretty interesting too, and I think we follow in sort of a group of maybe 3 guys, I think, that maybe have just robbed like a store or a bank or something like that, and they're hiding out at this old abandoned general store, and just to hide out and wait it out. And but I think something happens where they get like something like letters or something sent through the door, and they're possibly communicating with like the past owner of this general store. Something like that. It's kind of what I got from the blurb. Sounds super interesting. An author I have heard of but have not read. So really excited about that. Also, one I'm actually really super nervous to read, because this is a book I swore I was never going to read. So I think I'm just going to challenge myself to read it, because Wonwoo says he liked it. I just feel like I'm going to hate it, and that's Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I know what happens in this book because I just spoiled it for myself. But knowing that is why I never wanted to read it. But I'm gonna give it a go and see. I'll probably just do the audiobook and just see how I feel about this. I know a lot of people love it. I just feel like I'm gonna hate it, but we'll see. I also have a collection of poetry called No Flower Blooms Without Wavering by Jonghwan. This is actually on Scribd. You can get the ebook for it on Scribd. I thought adding some poetry to the week might be lovely, so I'm going to dig into that, and a Korean poet. And he also has a Fredrik Backman book on his list, and Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. It's one of his shorter books. Again, I'll probably just dig up the audio. I think I saw it on Scribd also. And I don't really know what that one's about, but hey, sounds great. And then an ebook that I have is called Be More Cat, Life Lessons from Our Feline Friends by Alison Davies. This is a cute little cat book that feel like kind of epitomizes Wonwoo, actually, now that I think about it. Pretty lovely. So these are the books that we'll see what I get to, but this is my short list, right? Of books I'd like to check out this week. A lot of different kinds of things. Again, authors I've never read yet, books I haven't heard of, authors I've never heard of, so I'm really excited. That's kind of why I like to do these kinds of videos. Because you try new things, So because I'm just diving right into the life of Wonwoo, I've got a couple of things. I'm going to try to make a couple of his favorite foods, maybe watch maybe a favorite movie. I've written down like a couple of his favorite movies that he's mentioned, a TV show that he liked, and something else I want to try to watch, because he also really recommends Shakespeare plays. He really enjoys Shakespeare plays. I don't know that I'm gonna actually read a Shakespeare play, but if I thought about pulling, I'm sure there's something on YouTube that's actual sort of dramatization of a play, and I'd like to watch a play that I've actually never read. So I was thinking of the comedies, maybe like As You Like It, which was on his list. So I may try to check that out too, depending on kind of what my watch time looks like for the week. And so that's it. That's gonna be my week. I'm really super excited, and just to dig into the life of Wonwoo for the week. And hopefully you'll excited and you'll come along for the ride with me and check out these new authors to me, and maybe they're new to you as well. All right, so I'll check in when I got something to say, and thanks for watching.
적이 없는 곳에 널 데려가줄게. Put it on me. You got this. Put it on me. 결국 내 손에 잡을 거야. 'Cause I know that you've been.
guys, let's check in a little bit. Today's Saturday, and I'm just kind of at a spot where I can do a little check-in. And yeah, so today we just had a lot of storms and rainy weather today, but we did kind of venture out to the Walmart, and I was so lucky I found the BT21 BTS Halloween stuff there. I didn't know if they would have any left or it would be all sold out, but I found all I wanted, all I needed, so I'm very happy. And then we found a few other Halloween bits and bobs. Yeah. Anyway, so for reading, let's talk about what I've been reading. So I did start the audiobook for Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. You know, I was not really looking forward to this book. And I gotta say, I'm not enjoying it. I'm really not. I'm just gonna finish it on out. And yeah, we'll talk about that later. I have made a very small start on The Seventh Day by Yu Hua, and I'm just kind of, just starting this. I'm just kind of figuring it out and seeing what's going on, but I am pulled in and interested to the writing and the story of, what was his name? Young Fei. Yeah, so the first chapter was like, he finds out he's dead, and he kind of gets summoned by this funeral parlor, essentially. It's like, hey, you have your appointment to get cremated. You need to show up on time and all this stuff. And they go, are you coming? Are you coming? And I don't know. I think he's had an accident or something. It talks about how one of his eyes is like not in the right place, and his chin is like not in the right place. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's some other things going on in here, but yeah, I'm still kind of not far in, so I'll report back later. And yeah, other than that, that's kind of all the reading I've done so far, as reading like a Wonwoo. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna sit here for a little bit and read a little bit more of this. And yeah, so that's kind of it. But I did want to share. I do have some Wonwoo bookmarks I'm gonna be using, of course, because of course. So K-pop albums are some things that I buy from time to time, especially from 17. I have a lot of 17 albums, and sometimes I give you little, things inside and stuff. And so I do have a Wonwoo bookmark. Here's one here. Flip it over. See, it says Wonwoo. And then this is from my favorite 17 album. Attica's my favorite 17 album. So I've got this one. And then in their actually most recent album, FML, it just came out at the beginning of this year, these little corner bookmarks were in them, the kind you kind of tuck over the corner page, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and I do have a Wonwoo one. Yeah, that's exciting. So yeah, there's from FML. So I'll be using these. I have a few others of the other members too. Anyway, so I got my Wonwoo bookmarks. I'm excited. So yeah, just a quickie check-in, and I will check in later. All right.
I always win 강한 마음이 중요하지 미래는 도망가지 않아 내가 놓기 전까지.
Okay, I'm gonna check really quickly. I'm gonna kind of refilm this portion of me talking about Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, because I went too ranty and too long previously, and I just kind of want to get a bit more concise here. So as previously mentioned, this was a book I was nervous to read. I never really wanted to read the book because I didn't think I was going to like it. And so, I just was, I didn't really want to read the book, but I did it because Wonwoo liked the book. And so I was like, you know what, I'll just give it a try, right? And yeah, I ended up not liking it. And for a lot of the reasons I thought I wouldn't like it. And which is a lot to unpack in just a really quick little thing, but essentially just how a lot of the stuff in here was handled, particularly with disability, it was just really left a bad taste in my mouth. And yeah, so we are with our main characters. We've got this man named Will, who is the disabled character. He was in an accident at the beginning of the book and became disabled. Uses a wheelchair, is quadriplegic, doesn't have use of his legs and minimal use of his arms, I believe. And it's 2 years later after the accident, and he's still, he's finding life hard, right? And he is wanting to end this life. And he's given his family like 6 months. But he's like, at the end of that 6 months, you're going to take me to, I think it's Switzerland or something, where it's physician assisted suicide. And I'm going to just end this life. Right. Okay. So that's his story. And then there's a woman named Louisa who is looking for a new job. And she sees this advertisement to just kind of be like a caregiver for who turns out to be Will, the guy that, and it's just a 6 month thing, whatever. She's like, okay, whatever, I need a job, because she's from a pretty poor background, or a lot of her family depends on her bringing in money. And so she takes the gig. All right. And then she kind of finds out, about what's going on with him, about why it's just 6 month period, that kind of thing. Because she learns that he's wanting to kill himself at the end of the month. Okay, fine. But this is the gist of the story, right? We find out that his mom has hired Louisa in hopes of her bringing joy to Will's life, and maybe making him change his mind. Because if Louisa can make him see that life is worth living, right? Okay. This is the gist of the story. They do sort of fall in love with each other. Blah, 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 blah. And spoiler alert for the ending of the book. So if you don't want to see this, just skip ahead, I guess. This book is portrayed as this, just steeping love story. But he still kills himself at the end of the book. Okay. And I don't know. I just feel some kind of a way about this book in general, okay? And I just don't like the overall tone that Will's character has throughout the book. Okay, well, first of all, I'm not a disabled person, right? I'm not a wheelchair user. So these are just feelings that I have, right? But a lot of his story is that he is just absolutely miserable and can find no reason to keep on living. Okay? I mean, that's fine. I mean, okay. But I think when you put this into a book like this, in which a lot of people see this as a uplifting kind of story, there's just this, under this underbelly of this story is that ableist notion that, yeah, if you are disabled, then your life isn't worth it, right? Either you can find absolutely nothing, not one thing, to live for, to keep going for. Again, this was just that underneath everything, that tone of the story that this took, and yeah, why it just really, yeah, just like I said, left a bad taste in my mouth. I just didn't like this book. I didn't like the story, and I didn't really like the main character, Louisa. I didn't really care for her all that much. She was portrayed as this quirky girl, you know, she's not like other girls, and so of course Will's gonna fall in love with her, and then there's the sappy bits with Will changing Louisa's life because, you know, she was really just didn't have a lot of drive, and, you know, so he changed that for her. Oh, I don't know. I just don't like this book, and I really struggle with understanding why a lot of people think this is a really amazing love story, because I just don't see it as that at all. So yeah, I didn't like this book. I'm sure I could say a lot more, but I'm gonna try to keep it short. So this one was not a good recommendation for me personally. But I'll leave Wani a little clip of what Wani said about this book here, and catch you in the next little clip. Right.
여기 보면 책 추천해줘라는 게 있구나. 제가 최근에 이제 Me Before You라는 책을 읽었는데 굉장히 감명 깊더라고요. 그거 꼭 읽어보세요.
I did finish The Seventh Day by Yu Hua. I'm not sure how to pronounce that right. Hua. This is translated from the Chinese by Alan H. Barr. I loved this. So Wonwoo has redeemed himself with this book. And I flipping loved it so much. It is both really sentimental and sweet at times, while also being a somewhat kind of scathing, you know, kind of outlook into sort of materialism and like social status, what money can put you in your social standings. And this, of course, is set in China, so how that looks in that kind of society. Super interesting. So we're following a man named Yang Fei. I remember his name because you know what? This book is really good. So, and he, right at the beginning of the book, we realize he's died. He's dead. And what is, I think I talked about this already, but he's, you know, said to come to the funeral parlor so he can be cremated and moved on. But what we've learned is that he does not actually have a burial ground. You know, there's no one has set aside a place for him to get buried, like back in the living world, right? And so he doesn't really have anywhere to go, and he finds these sorts of kind of lost souls that have nowhere to go, because if you can't buy a place to be buried, then where are you going to go? And this is again where it comes into, you know, this, you know, conversation around status and money and wealth comes into play, you know, woven into this story, because you know, even how that even determines a place in death, you know, essentially, which I thought was super interesting in here. And we are following Yang Fei as he's on, every chapter is a day, so the first day, the second day, and he stumbles along people that he knew in his lifetime. He finds his father again. He finds like an ex-wife, which I loved the part with his ex-wife. Like a young girl he met just like really the day before he died, like a little, like 11-year-old. He doesn't meet him, but she meets like her parents and stuff like that. Anyway, different people, and then other people, of course, that are already dead. And there's a scene of like people that don't have the burial grounds. There's this sort of place that they all congregate at that's, you know, it's full of like a forest and grassy areas, and there's like a river and things like that, and it's really kind of lovely place. And there will be like, well, because some people have been dead for a long time, it'll be just their skeletons walking around and like playing like Chinese checkers and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just at both times a really sort of lovely look into life and death, and family, both that, you know, that you're born into, and then that you find along the way of life, friendships, love, all of that's in here. And then again, at times it is this look into, I guess, Chinese culture, because this was written in 2013, I think it was. So it's a fairly modern look into China. When we think about China, we think about communism and how that actually, how I think it's like one thing on paper, but like something else like entirely when you see it, kind of thing. There's a lot in here about how the government will come in and just like demolish a building, because they're just making way for progress, that kind of thing, which we know that about China. They will get some shit done. If they like want to put a super highway through here, they'll put a super highway through here. And if your house is in the way, then you're SOL, basically, because we're coming through anyway, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's just a lot of stuff going on in here. And in just a couple hundred pages, I just thought it was so effective and affecting. It was the last, this little paragraph right here, tears. I'm sobbing. It was so good. This was really great, and I cannot wait to explore more by this author, and hopefully some more of his work has been translated, because definitely I can't wait. I really want to read more. So yeah. So to go from maybe like a 2-star book to a 5-star book, yeah. So I did also start The Miracles of the Namiya General Store, and on audiobook today, and I'm really liking this too. And it's actually another kind of sentimental kind of feeling story, which is interesting. In this book, we've got 3 young men who they're hiding from something. They've either like robbed a store or something. Something's happening. They need a place to hide, and so they find this old kind of rundown, looks abandoned general store, and they realize it's the Namiya General Store. And as they go in there and they're hiding out for the night, a little envelope comes pushed through the mail slot, and it's from someone called, that she calls herself Moon Rabbit, and she's sent them a letter, and not them, but she sent a letter to the Namiya General Store and asking for advice. And what we learn is there's a history of this store, of the guy, the elderly man that used to own it, used to like do this. Like people would send him letters and he would answer and advice. Started out as a joke between like the neighborhood kids, and it turned into like something really kind of wonderful and lovely, and something that he really enjoyed doing. And so we learned about the history of that went back 40, 50 years even. And so in this more present day story, these young men decide to answer the letters that are coming in, and then it turns into this tale of the different people and their letters to the Namiya General Store. And as we're learning about people, some of these stories have been intersecting with people and with the old men at the general store and with each other through the time period. And so this story is a little bit magical about it, because some of these letters are coming from the 1980s or 1970s, even though, we're in the more kind of present day of when the story was written. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I've got maybe just a couple hours left of it, so I'll finish it out at work tomorrow. But I'm really enjoying it, and having a good time with that. I'm very curious. I'm hoping kind of things will all kind of tie together at the end with all of these different people's stories, how it all comes together. Yeah, I'm very interested in that. So yeah, I'm really interested and enjoying that. Okay. What else have I done? I've been watching a little bit of some Wonwoo videos on YouTube, watching some fan cams. I have also watched a couple of his live streams, just to kind of get a little insight. I have made one of his supposedly favorite meals, according to the internet, was kimchi fried rice, which is a very simple sort of quick meal. And I made a big batch of it, so I've been kind of nibbling on that. I had some for lunch today at work, and I got one more serving I can take to lunch tomorrow, which is good. I'm going to be making sweet and spicy chicken tonight, which is another of his kind of favorite meals, which is another pretty common Korean meal. I think it's kind of a, what'd you call it? Feel-good meal, kind of a thing. So I'm going to try that. Never tried it before making it, so I think it'll be okay. we'll see how spicy it turns out. I don't know how much spice we're gonna put into it. So yeah, I'll do that. What else am I gonna do? I don't know. I need to start a new physical book now that I had finished Seventh Day. So I may either dig into some of the Sherlock Holmes tonight, or the cat book, the cat book that I've got to read, and maybe some of the actual the poetry as well. So yeah, I'm enjoying my my time with Wonwoo this week so far, other than Me Before You, but I knew I was gonna hate that book. But anyway, so I'll check in later, and yeah, check it out. Bye.
예쁜데? 뭐지? 되게 이렇게 단지처럼 잘 구성해놨다, 주민들 집을.
I'd give it the merry breezes, they'd waft it on.
하나, 둘, 셋. Left it, right, left it, right, left it, right, rip it, left it, right, left it, right, left it.
Alrighty, let's do a little check-in. So I did finish The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Kiego Higashino. It is translated by Sam's Bet from the Japanese. And yeah, this was really good. It last time I checked in, I was almost finished. So yeah, it definitely kind of pulled things together, you know, in that last little bit of the story, and anchored at the beginning of the story to the end with, you know, the three guys that are coming in, you know, that committed some sort of crime and are hiding out at the general store. So definitely they, you know, it comes full circle, you know what I'm saying? And to the end of the story, and yeah, this was really good. It's, you know, it's kind of sentimental, kind of a feel-good kind of book, I would say. But, you know, definitely looks into sort of like decisions in life, you know, is there fate, or is life what you make it? You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, and it just really kind of explores, you know, kind of just, you know, sort of humanity in general, you know, like the life that people lead, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, I ended up really liking that one. And I definitely want to read more by this author. I know they're more known for their like crime fiction, so I definitely want to dig into some of those, I think, too. It's kind of a grittier work, because I did like the writing and the character building and all that good stuff. So I definitely want to dive into more of this author's work, which I have in the plans. So yeah, last night I did very quickly over some sprints with Kelsey, her Patreon sprints, and Clown Drew, if you know, you know. Be More Cat, Life Lessons from Our Feline Friends by Alison Davies. Just one of those quick little kind of, you know, motivational type of books. And this, again, was on one of Wonwoo's lists. And I can, you know, he must be a cat person, you know. It has like 9 tips of, you know, being like more of a cat, you know, and how that can help you in your life. And it was certainly really cute. It has a bunch of little cute little illustrations throughout of like different little cats and stuff, which is adorable. It has like exercises, like, you know, breathing exercises and stretching exercises that you can do. And then just, yeah, tips from a cat, you know. And so yeah, it was really cute. And I would recommend it, actually. It, you know, put a smile on my face, you know. So today I actually took a mental health day from work because I just really needed it. Sometimes you just need you just need a day. Yeah, sometimes you just need it. So I spent some time working through, so planning the next couple of months out in my little book list here. Got that going. And I watched a few things today because I just needed a break. I needed a break from life today. So I dug into As You Like It, the Shakespeare drama. Like I said, I was going to try to watch a production of it instead of like actually reading it. And I did. I found a really nice production of it from the Oxford Theatre Guild. Looks like they put it on a couple years ago, maybe when like COVID was kind of, you know, a thing still. And so maybe they did it for people to watch during COVID. I don't know, but it was really good. I had a really good time with it. It definitely has some funny bits. It's definitely a comedy, and this is about Rosalind and Orlando, and yeah. So I didn't really know much about this one at all. Sorry, I need to get me a little stand. Is what I need to do. Anyway, and yeah, it has some really funny bits to it, and I thought it was well acted, and it was filmed outside and everything, so the setting was really nice. Yeah, I liked it a lot. So it was fun. Nice little change of pace. And then I just got finished watching Miracle in Cell Number 7. This is a Korean film, basically about an intellectually disabled man he's a single father who's wrongly accused of killing a little girl, and so he's sent to prison and sent to death row. And he has a daughter of his own, and so some of the like inmates that he's in with, and trying to help him, because he's wrongly accused. He didn't do this at all. To try to get him out, try to get him, you know, there's things with his daughter and stuff. I don't know. It's both really touching and heartwarming and really kind of funny at times, but then also like very dramatic and sad. Like the ending just left me in a puddle of tears. So yeah, but it was really good. If you need, well, if you need both an uplifting sort of movie, but also maybe a good cry, add it to your watch list because it was really good. And the little girl actor in there, oh my god, was precious. She's so adorable. Oh my god. Yes. So anyway, I got a little bit of time before I gotta go pick my kid up. I think I'm gonna finally dig into the Sherlock story. So I'm going to start, I guess, right at the beginning, right? With the Study in Scarlet, and what's the story number 1? Chapter 1 is just Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Well, we are introduced to Mr. Holmes. So I think I'll read a little bit of this. And yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't think so. Well, I made the sweet and spicy chicken. It was delicious. Will be added to my rotation of recipes that I will cook from time to time. It was delicious. I'll link the recipe that I used below. It was so good. I didn't make it super spicy because my husband can't handle spicy, but oh man, it was really good. What else? I think that's it. I'll check in later. Woo. Let's check in. So today's Wednesday, and so yeah, we're halfway through the work week. That's great. let's see, let's check in. Yeah, so I finished the little novella by Fredrik Backman, and I'm not even gonna remember that. I just looked at the title. I'm already not gonna remember it. Every way home gets longer. That's not it. It's something even longer. And every morning the way home gets longer and longer. Woof. Okay. And this is a really short novella. It's only like an hour-long audio, so I just listened to it today at work, and this was really good. It was. It's basically about this older man at the end of his life, and he's spending some time with his grandson and his son, and there's some memory issues. He's trying to, like, you know, how does he say goodbye to his grandson, because he knows he's kind of at the end of his life. It was really sweet, sentimental, kind of a feel good kind of thing, really kind of sad, but it packed a punch in just that little amount of time. Yes, I think a lot of Fredrik Backman's stories kind of have that feel to them sometimes, you know. And I've only read Beartown by Fredrik Backman, which isn't necessarily a feel-good story, but he's a great writer. I mean, he really is. I really need to read more of his stuff, because he can just, he's a good writer. So I don't really have much more to say to it, because it's just a short little thing, but I really did have a good time with that. And it's really emotional. I think when you're confronting your own death, you know, you're confronting and you're talking about grief and loss and all of that. It's good. And I did start Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, so I'm not going to read all of this. But I did read The Study in Scarlet, which is basically sort of the first, you know, sort of section of the Sherlock stories. And I actually listened to the audiobook for that as well. There's my Wonwoo bookmark. So it was just maybe about 100 pages of this book is this part 1, which is, like I said, The Study in Scarlet. And it's where we meet Watson right at the beginning of the book. And then, of course, he goes to live with Sherlock, because they're both trying to look for, like, basically a roommate to live with. So then we meet Sherlock, and we figure out about what he does, and then they get wrapped up in a case of, you know, there's this man that's been murdered, and you know, of course the police officers are pulling Sherlock Holmes a lot to try to help him because of his amazing powers of deduction, I've read that first section of Sherlock Holmes, and I did really enjoy it. I get why people like Sherlock Holmes. I think you do have this idea of where Sherlock Holmes is, right? This kind of studious, uber focused type of guy who's really smart, right? And then there's Watson, who sometimes just kind of along for the ride, you know. And then you get a murder mystery, you know, to kind of try to figure out along with Sherlock Holmes. And I get it. Yeah, I get it. So I'm definitely, you know, looking forward to reading more. I don't know that I'll get to any more in this reading vlog, because I've only got a couple days left. But yeah, I'm excited to dig into some more Sherlock Holmes. This big collection here is really cool. So I'm gonna call Sherlock Holmes a hit. Yeah, that was a really good recommendation, and kind of kicked me in the butt to finally read some Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, I'm gonna call this finished for now. But the book itself, of course, is not finished. So the next section is The Sign of the Four. I'm guessing it leads into another mystery to solve. Yeah. So yeah, that was exciting. And so that's kind of where I'm at now with reading all these Wonwoo book recommendations. I'm almost about finished, honestly. I do have the poetry still to read. I never dug into the poetry, so I think that's probably what I'll get into tonight.
anyone 나의 모든 힘을 네가 가르쳐줘서 세상 어느 곳에서도
So I spent the week reading like Wonwoo from 17, right? And I just honestly had a really good time. I really did. So let's reflect a bit on what we did this week. So I did, before we get into the books, I watched, one of his movies that he said he liked, Miracle in Cell 7, which was really lovely. Bit of a tearjerker. Yeah, that was really great. I did watch the first episode of Descendants of the Sun, which is a K-drama that he had mentioned he had watched before. And it looks pretty good so far with the first episode. I'm definitely kind of interested to see where it goes. I'll keep going with it at some time. Takes me forever to get through TV shows, but whatever. I watched the dramatization of As You Like It, the Shakespeare play that was put on by the Oxford Theatre Guild. Really enjoyed that. It was a really good story. Definitely had some funny bits to it, and I chuckled quite a few times watching that. Made a couple of his favorite foods that he likes to eat: kimchi fried rice, sweet and spicy chicken, which was so good. My husband and I both loved it, and so we were like, we're adding that to the recipe rotation. It was so good and really super easy, so it was so good. Okay, so I started out with a dud, reading Jojo Moyes' Me Before You, but hey, because it only got better after that, particularly after reading The Seventh Day by Yu Hua. And I loved this book. This was a 5-star read, definitely my favorite read of this week. Really loved this, that I discovered this book and discovered this author, which I honestly probably wouldn't have otherwise were it not for Wonwoo, right? So that's exciting. And also really the same for the Miracles of the Namiya General Store, which is by Kiego Higashino. Another really just sort of, kind of sentimental, touching story. And I really enjoyed that also. I finally dug into Sherlock Holmes. So he gave me the kick in the butt that I needed to finally start reading Sherlock Holmes. So I did finish through the Studies in Scarlet. So I got the first little section of this particular big book of Sherlock stories, and very eager to read more. I'm excited. I really liked spending some time with Sherlock and Watson. I read the novella, the Fredrik Backman novella, and Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. That was really lovely, very emotional, really lovely, beautifully written. Be More with Cat, Life Lessons from Our Feline Friends by Alison Davies. I mean, that was like so cute, and so many cute little cats, and it was wonderful. I did dig into some of the poetry by Doyle Jonghwan, the collection No Flower Blooms Without Wavering. I didn't quite finish it, but I think I made about halfway through, so definitely got a good feel for the poems. They were a lot about sort of love and love loss, a very kind of more some emotional type stories, a lot of nature writing too. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I'll kind of mosey my way through that and finish up that collection. Is that it? I believe that's all I read, right? I think so. So I had a really great week. I really did. I really enjoyed this. So what have I learned about Wonwoo though by reading? I think he really likes to explore emotions. Human emotions, be they happiness, sadness, love, and family, death. I think he likes to kind of explore those emotions around death, what that means, and that kind of thing. I think he definitely likes to lean a bit more sentimental, kind of feel-good type things. I would say even in the show and the movie, they had a feel-good ring to them. The Namiya General Store was really, ultimately more kind of a feel-good story. The Fredrik Backman story was a kind of a feel-good story. I would think most people would probably think Me Before You is kind of a feel-good story. It's emotional, makes you cry or something. So I think he definitely likes those kinds of stories that really just kind of dig into sort of, the emotions of just sort of existing as a human, right? Sort of life lessons maybe, but also choices that are made in life, kind of what that, how that, you know, affects other people, how it affects you, how it affects your life, your death. I saw that in Me Before You, the Namiya General Store for sure. Fredrik Backman for sure. There's an old, you know, elderly man reflected on his life as at the end of his life, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think he has a sort of style of story that he likes. Now the Sherlock, I mean, well, even in the Shakespeare, well, As You Like It is a love story, you know what I mean, even though it's kind of a silly story. But even this, you know, Sherlock Holmes maybe seems to have a lack of emotion, but the things that he does, you know, he's using his brain and coming up with a way to ultimately help people, right? I think, yeah. so yeah, even these are, Sherlock's kind of a feel-good guy, right? So yeah, I think that Wonwoo definitely likes to just read stories, more kind of slice of life type stories about people and their lives and the emotions that can bring out in you. I think that's a good kind of sum up of this week. I cried, I laughed. I mean, I ran the gamut. I even got a little mad. So I definitely ran the gamut of emotions. I mean, this book had me crying, you know. So yeah, I really just enjoyed digging into this. I thought this was a lot of fun, and I really look forward to doing it in the future. I got a couple of more K-pop idols lined up in my brain that I know are readers, and I've kind of made lists of some books that they have talked about before, or a list of books that they've read. So if you like this, then stay tuned. I'll have another one coming. I don't know when. You know, October's busy, so probably not October, maybe not November. I don't know. Sometime we'll do this again with another K-pop person, because I think it's a lot of fun, a good way to kind of get to know someone through their reading style and the things that they like to consume as media, movies and things like that too. So yeah, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to link some things about Wonwoo below too. I'll link some of the fan cam footage that I've been trying to kind of insert in between some of the clips, if I don't get too copyright stricken with by those. I'll link some really fun fan cams of Wonwoo like singing and dancing on stage. I'll link some videos actually that I watched of him where he's really talking about sort of mental health and things like that through this thing that Eric Nam does with people in mental health and things like that. Those videos were really enlightening, I think, for me to kind of get to know Wonwoo a bit more also. And any kind of fun Wonwoo stuff, I'll put it below if you're interested in digging into Wonwoo, because I think he's a pretty interesting guy. Alrighty, so again, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, because I know it's probably another long vlog. I try not to make these long, but they end up being really, really long. Anyway, thanks for watching, and maybe leave me a little dancing emoji in the comments if you made it all the way to the end. And yeah, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, bye.